Okay, it says we are live, but I cannot see the time. Oh, we got something going on. We haven't got the timer as of yet, so I'm just going to keep babbling on for a minute. Let us know if you are out there and what's going on, and we'll see how we get on. Let me just bring up something else, because the joys of closing down a stream means that things tend to go wrong. Can't see what's going on there. What have we got? What have we got? Let's bring that up. There we go. I can close that. Okay, so we got 2 people on Facebook who are watching. So anybody able to go in the old? I'll try and do it on my phone actually, and see what happens. I don't think it's working on YouTube. I don't think it is working on YouTube at all. Oh, YouTube is working at last, somebody is saying, but I can't see anybody here. Oh, right. I'm going to have to pull up my phone and see what is going on and see if I can see anything. I hate doing this while I'm trying to talk to you guys. That's my biggest problem. Where are we? Oh, I should be live. It's just spinning on YouTube. Chili Phil says, I've got it working on Facebook, but not on YouTube. Anna Jones says, hello, buffering again. Stuart over on Facebook says, evening again, Richard from Stuart. But yeah, all I'm getting here, I've pulled it up, is the spinning signal thing. There must be a problem with YouTube, I'm sorry to say. Yeah. Interesting. Idaho says back in the picture is much better resolution. Oh, there must be a problem with YouTube. That's 2 different things set up and it's not connecting, or something is going wrong. Yet some people are getting it. This is amazing. This is amazing. I can I can see, as I said, right. I'm going to carry on. I know I've said this. I'm going to carry on because I can't process what's going on and try and talk to you. And obviously, we need to have a discussion about winter mulching. Now, we were just discussing before this tornado that came through. This is the second one in as many months here in Littlehampton, and it's quite scary what is going on. You know, to have two tornadoes. I mean, to have one tornado is quite rare and unheard of, but the one today has caused a lot of damage. And of course, my allotment, it was right in the line of it. But what's amazing is the damage was just at the front, yet the back of the allotment, where my allotment is, no damage at all. It was like nothing happened. And the same thing with here at home. We were at home last night. We had our family round, and I could hear areas a bit windy, bit rainy, but nothing to really worry about. Yet over the other side of town, a tornado came through and demolished everything. So quite interesting. But we want to talk about winter mulching today. So the question I'm asking is, what do you like to use for your winter mulches? Let us know in the comments. And I'm going to go to the comments and see what we've got. So Stuart is saying, I think the weather around is upsetting everyone. YouTube has been iffy most of the day. Yeah, I don't understand what is going on. Fiona Cooper says, evening all, fine on Facebook. Excellent. Chili Phil says, Facebook quality is much better since your reboot. Jenny says, nothing but the Lego and logo and circle going round and round. No sound, which is what I'm getting on my phone as well. So let's have another look and see. Yeah, I'm getting that same thing on my phone. This is crazy. I'm on my cell phone, and when I came back in, it seems much better. Okay, on my phone on YouTube, nothing on the PC. There we go. So, few people out there. Richard, you can't control the elements, so you're going well on Facebook, says Stuart. Excellent. Again, I'm trying on my phone, and just nothing seems to be working at all. Right, carry on. Toby Stream says, I think it's YouTube. Just seen a post from a weather channel that does a live stream at this time. He reported the same buffering. Okay, it is something on YouTube. So that's obviously where the largest amount of audience is, but we'll have to make the most of it. Idaho says, I use fallen leaves for mulch. Fantastic. That's one of the questions I want to ask. What do you like to use? I know TurboStream likes to use a lot of fallen leaves as well. So this is what I'm asking. And I'm going to try and get some leaves as well to use as a mulch. And I want to use it as a, make leaf mold, of course. Graham says, I was working for a flower show 4 years ago and a tornado took 4 stands up in the air, but left everything around it, mate. And that was the Birmingham way. It's amazing, isn't it? I've never really realised the UK gets. I mean, we hear of the odd one, but I always thought they were freak weather incidents. But to get 2 in the space of 2 months was quite amazing. And now I've sort of gone into it a bit more and realised, yeah, we do get quite a few of them. It is very, very interesting. And it is amazing how it literally, you can sort of see the trail of destruction and everything on the either side is completely fine. It is absolutely amazing. Scary, but amazing at the same time. Anna Jones says, just buffering on my tablet. And Scott says, this year I'm using well-rotted horse manure that I got in bulk. Was pleased with the quality. Yeah, I'm after horse manure. Now, I've been able to get some, but it's not rotted down enough. So you're very lucky to be able to get hold of it. But what are you doing? Are you rotting it down a little bit more? Or are you just laying it down on top of your bed, Scott? Let us know in the comments. Maybe time to move to Zoom. Can you see me, Nigel? There you go. I can see it perfectly on my phone. Nothing on the PC. Nothing on Facebook. This is weird. This is really weird. There's obviously something going on. That's right. I can't focus again. Went down on YouTube again, so back on Facebook. I'm not sure who that is. I've been using homemade compost and leaves. That's what I've been using a lot of, especially compost. I'm always trying to make a lot of compost in order to use as much, but I can never seem to produce enough compost to make it worthwhile, or to make enough compost for it to last the entire season. It's always going to be a mission that we're going to keep trying to build. I mean, anybody got any tips on how to make more compost? The only thing I got is to compost absolutely everything. So I'd love to know if anybody has any tips on what to do. Jenny says, you are back and you're gone. And Andrew Norris says, and all good on YouTube. This is amazing. It's amazing. I think it seems to be people in the UK on YouTube that seem to be affected by it, but I could be wrong. Don't know. Graham Bolton says, I'm ordering 4 ton of wood chip mulch to use this year as I'm well behind this year. It's interesting. I think I've said on the podcast and everything, we have this wood chip delivered to the allotment that nobody seems to know where it's coming from. So I've been using that quite a bit. And I think it's great thing to use. Some people do say that as it's rot down, it depletes nitrogen from the soil, but then other people would argue against that using wood chip. But as far as I'm concerned, it seems to work. So I'm going to continue using it and hope for the best. Yeah. Scott says his horse manure, well rotted, is a thick layer on top of the bed. Fantastic. Do you, with your horse manure, are you going to put a tarpaulin or something over it so that all the nutrients don't get washed away? I know some people do that. I personally don't, but I know some people do it. Nicola over on Facebook says, can't watch you on YouTube. I can't watch myself on YouTube. I keep checking on my phone to see what's going on. and what happens. Idaho says, how long does it take for horse manure to cure / rot down? It's, well, I mean, I would say a good year for it to rot down, provided it's all stacked nicely. I mean, I used to have a supplier that he sold the horse manure that was 2 years old. It was already really well watered down. It's fantastic stuff because it was like you could already grow in it. So yeah, I would say horse manure a year, but you really want it to look almost like a compost material. Make sure there's no wood shavings, no straw left in it, and you should know it is good. Good. Anna Jones says, I was back for a few seconds. And then Facebook, yes, Chili Kate says, we will be using the spent mushroom compost that we can get cheaply from the site shop. But I love the leaf idea. The trees opposite our house like to deposit on our front garden, put it to use. Leaf mold is the first thing I would make with leaf, which is just rotted down leaves. Pile it into a compost bin or a bag and turn it into leaf mold. But if you have more left, use it as a mulch. Andrew says, nope, lost you again, pity. And I'm not sure who this is. Richard, you can't worry about the stream. We will still be here. Everyone knows you're doing your best. Thank you very much. Oh, it's Stuart. I use my own compost for mulch, but hopefully we'll be using wood chip at school. Again, this comes back to I want to be able to use or produce enough compost to mulch all my beds all the time and only be able to use compost. I can't do it. Can't do it. So during the summer, obviously, I'm cutting the grass, so I tend to use the grass clippings. Can't do that through the winter, though, of course. Straw is something else we could use, but I don't think that's going to be good enough throughout the winter. I'm going to stick with either compost or wood chip or leaves is what I'm sticking with personally. Andrew Manoris saying, gone back to Facebook. Turbo Stream says, buffering on my PC too still. This is weird. It's so weird. Digwell says, no real mulching for me as my bed will still be in use all winter. They get mulched as soon as the previous crop is lifted. Do you just, Digwell, you may have already said, do you just use compost when you mulch after lifting the previous crop? Because that's sort of a thing I do. But obviously I grow green manures, but as well as throughout the winter. Scott says, I got my manure for Maddenley Munch. It was well rotted and ready to go. Fantastic. So that's brought in. So that's probably not what we think of as horse manure. So it's already really, really well rotted down and what have you. So good to go. Digwell says, be careful with mushroom compost. Very alkaline. Good point. Good point. I mean, I can't use mushroom compost, mushroom allergy. But it's a good point. It can make a bit of a problem. I filled a heap with fresh horse manure in March/April and grew courgettes on the top over the summer. But I will spread it on the beds next March, says Bethan Morgan. Yeah, I mean, again, I use the compost bins, and I've said it. Oh no, I haven't put that video out yet. The pumpkin video. I grow my pumpkins in the compost bin. So growing it, so I kind of get what you mean there. What else has everyone got? Somebody, I'm not sure who this is. How well chipped does wood chip need to be? We need to trim our tree and have a shredder. I put it through the shredder, and that I will use as a wood chip. You can actually go a bit bigger, but the smaller stuff seems to be good enough. Andrew Norris planted a green manure a month ago. New experiment to try and enrich the soil. Love green manures. I love green manures. If you can't grow veg, grow green manures is my motto. Bunny Celine says YouTube is great now. Fantastic. I can see numbers going up, so it might be working on YouTube. Graham says I've got 4 or 5 compost bays, but only my first proper year on a plot, so not fully ready yet. Fantastic, fantastic. YouTube back up now, says Chili Phil. I'm just having a look. Yeah, let's see if it's working on my phone, shall we? So, as I said, I'm trying to make as much compost as I possibly can It's not working on my phone. Oh, let's come out of it and try again. No, it's not working on my phone on YouTube. Right, I'm trying to make as much compost as I possibly can. So that means that I need to compost as much material as I possibly can, try and bring in as much materials as I possibly can. And I mean, we're not allowed to bring in materials on our allotment, so it's a bit difficult. I tell you what, I'm going to pull up a video quickly just to give myself the chance to get my head around this. What have we got? Let's go for this week's sow along, just because I can show that. Okay, guys, this week you set me the seed to sow as our onion sets, and these are our onion sets. They're basically tiny little onion bulbs. That's a base where roots will come from, and that's a top where it will produce the plant itself. And we've often discussed whether it's worth growing from onion sets or onion seeds. And a few weeks ago, we did grow some onions, or sow some onion seeds, I should say, and they're doing pretty well in the paper pots. But today you wanted me to plant out these onion sets. Now, I have actually done a previous video, which you can find on YouTube and Facebook, asking whether it's worth growing onion from sets, and it's something we've discussed a lot. Put that to one side. Let's get these onion sets sowed. The only tool we need is my good old trusty dibber. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's get this done. First thing we want to do, just dib a hole. I'm going to about 5 to 10 centimetres deep. Then we take our set and drop it in. We then give it about 10 centimetres of space and repeat like so, and drop another one in, and so on. Now, these ones that I'm doing are red onions, and I grow red onions. My wife says she prefers them, blaming her Indian heritage over white onions, but I'd be interested to know what ones you personally prefer. Now, the actual growing of onions from sets or from seed is no different really from each other. You simply give them a decent amount of blood, fish and bone, you leave them to grow, and they should perform. Now, the trouble with overwintered ones, they do have a tendency to bolt, and they may rot in the soil, so that is a problem that you might have to deal with. For me, I can live with the bolting, because that just means we get some early onions. Then we grow our main crops to follow them up. So really, one of the easiest plants to grow, and I grow lots of onions because, well, we eat lots of them. I'm sure you do too. So let us know in the comments or in the chat what you prefer, red or white onions. Right, back to the podding shed. Indeed, back to the podding shed. What do you like, red or white onions? Let us know. Hopefully it's still working. I've got no idea what's going on. I've got no idea what's going on with these stream at the moment. But as I said, we're making our way through it. Now, Turbo Stream is saying he's watching via Facebook on his PC, but he mulches, leaving a comment on YouTube as well. He mulches with leaf mold and compost. Excellent. Now, when it comes to leaf mold or using leaves, do you run over your leaves with a shredder or a lawnmower, to chop them up before placing them on your bed? Or do you just place them on the bed? And another question I want to ask, I like firing out these questions to the audience that is still there. What is for you the benefits of mulching your soil? Idaho Gun Girl says, I like both, but usually use more white ones. Fantastic. And yeah, I prefer the white ones. My wife prefers the red ones. I mean, the red ones I think have more flavour, especially when using them raw. But for cooking, I prefer the white ones. But my wife, she prefers the red ones when well, she says her Indian heritage, so interestingly, I don't know where that comes from as such. Mark says white raw, red cooked. That's interesting. Opposite way round to me. Very interesting. How are you doing? Anyway, I haven't seen you for a while. Personally, Kate Spratt says, personally, I prefer red onions, but can't grow either successfully. Oh, interesting. What is your problem with growing them, I wonder? Do you grow them from seeds or sets? And what happens with them? Let us know. TurboStream says, I don't have a Facebook account. Yeah, no, I know you don't. So we're trying our hardest to see what's going on. Jenny Veal says, YouTube proper died now. I can't get onto it at all. It's obviously something going on YouTube because it's fine on Facebook. We like the red onions as we find them a bit milder, says Stuart. Yeah, I can see what you're saying there. I think home grown ones taste better and taste much more flavorful, but I know what you mean by them being a bit milder. Red and white onions have different uses, so I like them both, says Chili K. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you. Different uses. It's the right tool for the job, isn't it, when you are cooking? All good, all good. Anna Jones says, I'm watching via Facebook without an account, so cannot comment on there. That's fine. If you can get it to work, then do it. I think it seems to be the only way we can do this. I've tried everything possible on my end to get it to work. I want to join in the conversation as much as I can, so all good. Facebook. Oh, Kate Spat again says, I had good results with alpaca manure and you don't need to rot it down. Good point. That's a very good point. There are certain manures out there that if you can get hold of them, that don't need rotting down. And alpaca manure is just one of those. I'm after any type of manure at the moment. A lot of manure, or any manure I can get hold of and get transported to the allotment easily and discreetly because we're not technically allowed to take stuff down there. TurboStream says, I compost the leaves. I find fresh leaves have introduced weeds. Interesting. What type of weeds have they introduced? That's very interesting, I think. Bethan says, I don't mind either, but I find red onions are more likely to bolt than white. Good point. Good point. Scott says, red onions for curries all day long. I'm with you on that. Again, that's my wife says. So, yeah. Tried both seeds and sets, as Kate says. Start off fine with set, and then they died off. Seeds didn't even germinate. They died off. Are they getting a bit too damp, I wonder? Or are you getting damping off disease? Are they well ventilated? First question I want to ask. We'll have to work out on that, don't we? I plant my set straight outside, so I don't know if you're doing the same. TurboStream says it's YouTube. There must be a problem tonight. I'm pretty sure it's a problem with YouTube. I'm pretty sure. We're doing okay though. TurboStream says a weather channel I follow abandoned his live stream tonight because of the buffering. Well, no, I'm not going to abandon it because we got Facebook. This is a great thing that I can go to several places at once. Anna Jane says, don't forget non-biodegradable mulches like gravel, seashells, which reminds me, and slate. Plenty of uses for those as well. Yeah, yes. The only trouble I have with these is they can be quite expensive, but I think they do look really good. They don't biodegrade. They last a long time, which of course is a benefit. Some people, like when you use slate or large stones, take them out once a year, give them a good wash, and then put them back on top as well. If you can be bothered to do that, that is. What else have we got? TurboStream says the plot was invested with dock seedlings since using the uncomposted leaves as a mulch. Dock seedlings, interesting. I wonder how that got into the leaves as a seeds, how the seeds got into that as such. Interesting point. Graham says, I fill my beds with alpaca manure and leaves to start with and they're not grown much this year. So may leave the wood chip mulch out and just top up with my homemade compost. Yeah, great stuff. Again, alpaca manure seems to be coming around again, doesn't it? A lot of people, a lot of you guys like to use alpaca manure. If I can get hold of it, I will try it out. Um, but I think what you're saying is you basically fill the beds up. Correct me if I'm wrong, Graham. You fill the beds up with your compostable materials and let it rot down in place, which is a great thing. I've built a few beds like that, basically composting in situ, which I think works quite well. Hasn't worked so well on my pumpkin beds this year, but you'll see that on a video later this week. It was meant to come out today, but a tornado changed things. Anna Jones says, I always cover the bases of my fuchsias with grit to stop vine weevils laying eggs. Good idea. I mean, this is one of the advantages of mulches. I think this is what I don't know if everybody heard the question I asked is why do you mulch your beds? Why do you mulch your plants? For me, it is to reduce weeds and to conserve moisture. Not that we need it at the moment with the amount of rain we've got, but also stopping vine weevils. You know, good ideas are trying to reduce um, diseases and things. I think there is something like cabbage collars you put around. They're not necessarily a non-biodegradable mulch, you could call them, and they stop certain bugs going down into the soil and digging through as well. What else have we got? Time Extreme says the leaves have been through a machine as they were all chopped up when they were delivered. So they're already shredded, and then something, or that might be what might be because Turbo Stream gets his leaves delivered to his allotment. Um, so what might be happening with Turbo Stream's leaves is that they're going. The council is going down with a leaf sucker blower thing, sucking them up and chopping them up as they're sucked, which would explain the duck seeds being found because they're also sucking up those bits as well. We've figured that out. That I might be wrong, but that's my assumption. I assume a road sweeper was similar. I think they're sucking up the leaves from parks and things using a giant vacuum cleaner, and that's getting the seeds in there as well. Graham Bolton says, yes, that's what I did, mate, and my pumpkins were amazing. Biggest was nearly £66. What's £66 in kilos? 66 pound in kilos. Dig Muddy Boots, sorry, says, hurrah, you found 20p for the meter. Digwell says, at the risk of tempting fate, YouTube is up and bugger gone again. But Muddy Boots says, working on YouTube now for me. Let's have a look at my phone and see if it's working here. Crikey. No, it's still not working for me, but we'll make the most out of it. Nearly 29 kilos. 29 kilos. I think that just go. Oh, hang on. No, YouTube is working on my phone. Yay, it's working. It is working on YouTube, everybody, at last. If you're just joining or wondering what's going on, we think there's been a problem with YouTube tonight with the live streams because there's some. No, it's just disconnected now. Some other people have, other live streamers have had problems with it. I don't get, says Idaho Garden Girl, I don't get very many leaves, but I mulch with what falls because I want the leaves to rot in place. The leaves help prevent weeds. I completely agree with that. Must go now. I will catch up in the week. Have a good one, Richard, says Stuart. And gone again, says Money Boots. Right, I cannot do anything. It's obviously a problem with YouTube, so I'm going to try my hardest to carry on. Graham Bolton says that pumpkin was 4.24 stone. It was, to be precise. That's a good going, isn't it? A good size. I think growing in pumpkins and things like that, it seems to work really well for pumpkins growing in compost bins and stuff that is still rotting down. I'm definitely going to be doing more of that next year. I mean, I've always done it in the past. This year I was a little disappointed, but squashes have been a bit of a struggle this year. Digwell says, guys, if you scrub back 30 seconds on your timeline, there will be no buffering. Okay, I can't see what is going on. Crikey, the time seems to be flying through tonight, and we really haven't got into this conversation very much. So Toby Stream says, I sowed the Facilia green manure, but yet to see much germination. The field beans are doing okay. So Facilia is very slow this year. Mine is growing, but very, very slow. We just have to see what happens with Facilia. I think it's just because the weather has been so changeable that it's all over the place. But yeah, Facilia has been very slow and patchy germination for some reason as well. Good for me on YouTube, says Andrew. I do think it seems regional as well, I'm noticing. All right, now I have got a mission that you guys set for me last week as well, and this was to make a cloche. So I went for a simple thing. Let's go for it. Right, guys, this week you set me the challenge to make a cloche, and I went through hundreds of different ideas to decide what type of cloche I was going to make. In the end, I decided the same KISS, keep it simple, stupid, was going to work. So what I've got, just a simple plastic bottle, nothing complicated, and all I'm going to do with a sharp knife, of course, it should be wearing gloves. I'm not doing it because I find gloves don't give me as much control, and we just simply cut off the bottom. Now when using a knife, I know you're all adults there and probably don't need me to tell you this, but when using a knife, always cut away from you. That way, if a knife does slip, it's not going to hit anything. So there we go, bottom is cut off, not the nicest. Now let's put this into use. So this is a bed that you saw me make last week, and I've put some Swiss chard into it just to put this bed into use. So all we're going to do is take this bottle, put it over a Swiss chard plant into the ground to make sure it doesn't blow away. And there we go, one simple cloche is now made. Swiss chard is protected, and of course bigger bottles we can scale this up. This one particular bottle I've used is 1 1/4 litre, so it's quite a small bottle, but we can scale this up. It's starting to rain, so I'm going to get in to the dry. I'll see you back in the podding shed. There we go. Keep it simple, stupid. Make a cloche out of a bottle. Nice and easy. Hope you are still all out there. I cannot see what is going on. I think YouTube seems to be, I've just had a look on the phone again. YouTube is one that seems to be having problems. But people, are you still out there on Facebook? Let us know. Check in is what we do. What have we got? Turbo Stream says the allotment is saturated still. We had more rain last night too. I know how you feel. We had a lot of rain last night, as long with the tornado, which is amazing. We had a lot of rain as well, and I've never seen the allotment so saturated as it is at the moment. I'm hoping it's going to calm down soon, because otherwise things are going to rot in the ground. What else have we got? So Chili Cake, sorry, heading to collect the end of school holidays Chinese takeaway. We'll catch up in the week. No problem, buddy. Hope you are well. Thanks so much for your help trying to get this live stream working. Andrew says, now you've gone again back to Facebook. Anna Jones says, me too. My back garden is like a swamp. My back garden isn't too bad at the moment, but the allotment is pretty bad. Graham says all good here, so it's on Facebook. Good. And I like your top, Richard. Thank you. Yes, this is the Halloween logo. I'm glad I didn't put all the effort into making. I was going to dress this up for Halloween tonight. I'm glad I didn't do that tonight with all the troubles we having. Halloween on Tuesday, isn't it? Of course. Bethan, I couldn't see the top of the bottle. Did it have a top on, or do you leave it off? So I leave the top on to start with. And if I think that it needs a bit more ventilation, then I'll unscrew the top. That's why I leave it on, so that I can just easily unscrew the top to give it a bit more ventilation. Um, and it's for me, I always remember I did this as a child, very, very many years ago. And just using a plastic bottle. My cousin came round and he saw it and he'd never seen it before and just thought, what a great idea. I always remember when I think of it. So yeah, all good. Turbo Stream says Littlehampton is like Tornado Alley. Another storm due this Thursday, apparently. Yeah, I've had enough. I have had enough. I'm just amazed um, what has happened. Like I said, when I put a video out earlier today, where you've probably seen it, down at the front, there's sheds literally turned over on their side. There's greenhouses completely mangled, and yet you go the other side of a track, literally 10 meters away, and there's no damage at all. I'm right up the other end, no damage at all. It literally, it literally is a line of damage, which tallies up with a tornado. They reckon it was a T4 rating because God knows what T4 means, but they say it's quite a significant tornado today. Bethan's saying hello. Ian's saying hello to Bethan. Idaho says, I'm watching YouTube on the phone. It's good at the moment. Good. It's a shame. It's a shame because it's a shame YouTube isn't working. Hopefully next week it'll be sorted and we can query it again. Anna says, I've just got a black screen with an error. Am I correct in saying, Anna, that you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, but commenting on YouTube? Seems I never realised you could do that. So this is a new thing for me. Ian says, if you want a warm hoodie for gardening in the winter, I can recommend the Veg Grower hoodies. Very good quality. Thank you very much, Ian. Yes, I'm quite impressed with these. I mean, I keep meaning to get more. I just bring this one out for the winter times. But yeah, I like these hoodies. What have we got? Turbo Stream says, if we get any more rain, I will be sailing down the Severn past Digwell's gaff. I know. It is terrible, the rain at the moment, but it will give up quite soon, I hope, and get better. Right. And what is the time? I'll tell you what, I'm going to bring up the photos from this week because we've got to get through those at some point anyway. And I always like to see the photos anyway. As I say, sorry, I'm all over the place tonight. This connection problem has completely thrown me. So Nicola, she has added this roof to her IBC tank area. I believe she's doing a similar thing with her compost bays as well. I think it's a great idea. You all know I love to try and store as much rainwater as possible and collect as much rainwater as possible. And this is a good thing to do for that. Add a gutter in and down into the IBCs, and there you go. Good stuff indeed. Chili Kate, who's had to head off for her Chinese, but she was after some help buying a plum tree that was on offer at a local garden centre. And I think we helped her. It's a bit of a worry that the plum trees have lost their leaves, but that's to be expected at this time of year. And they were normally £55 down to £13, so complete and utter bargain. It's just always unsure if they're going to survive the winter. But I always say, if you ask your garden centre, often they offer guarantees, so it's worth checking with them as to what they say about that. Now, Anne has found all this leaf fall, but she's not sure what to do with it. Mulch. There's plenty of things we can do with it. It seems to be what we are talking about tonight. Now, Stuart Jackson, he left his book in the greenhouse, unfortunately, but a mouse came along and was very hungry and decided to nibble on the end of it, which is unfortunate, but it happens, doesn't it? That's why I always say, and I'm very guilty of this, always remove your stuff that you don't want damaged. I'm guilty of it as well. So as easier said than done. Andy has harvested all this carpet from his allotment. Isn't it annoying? Isn't it? I mean, carpet used to be used great for suppressing weeds, but when it's left behind like that, it becomes a nuisance, and that is a lot of carpet. Yeah, a lot of carpet. So there we go. Please do keep sharing those photos. You can post them in our Facebook group, send to me via social media, or email to me, richard@theveggiegrowpodcast.co.uk. That's richard@theveggiegrowpodcast.co.uk. So what have we got? Turbo Stream says, I'm commenting on YouTube with the stream paused, watching on Facebook. Excellent. I can't do any more, I'm afraid. I tried my hardest. I cannot do any more. Graham says, where can I get one of those hoodies, mate? Not orange, though. Prefer green. Head to the veggroundpodcast.co.uk, click on shop. And I'm not sure if I've got the Halloween logo on there, but if you want the Halloween one, email me and I'll get it up there. I just haven't got around to doing them this year. I sometimes need somebody to do these sort of things for me. Andrew Norris says, one of the other use of plastic bottle is a long-term watering system. If you are going away for the weekend, punch a hole in or two in a cap, cut a little hole in the base, fill with water, invert bottle, and bury the first 5 centimeters in the ground. Yeah, it acts as like a little slow waterer, doesn't it? And it works very, very well. You used to be able to buy these things that you screw onto the bottle, and they were like a spike but you had to stuff them with cotton wool or something. God, the rain's coming in now. Stuff them with cotton wool just to slow it down. Again, it works. It works, and I love using all these sort of things as well. They may not look the most attractive, but they do the job. Scott says, great idea, Nicola. I have IBC tanks, so might try this. It's worth it, especially if you want to fill up those IBC tanks and make the most of it. Go on the Veg Grower website for a hoodie. It keeps me warm. I've got to admit, I do like wearing this hoodie out here in this shed. I must get some more to wear down on the allotment or something as well. I might have to try it. I'm sort of liking having pockets there because I can stick a microphone in there, but that's a whole other thing. Right, guys, so coming back to discussing about mulching and what do you use as a mulch? We've spoken a bit about our biodegradable mulches, be it our manures, our compost, our straw, grass clippings. I wouldn't use hay personally because of the risk of seeds. Now, straw and grass clippings, straw might be okay, but grass clippings, I think they would hold on to the water a bit too much. Plus, you're unlikely really to mow the lawn in this weather. So I'm looking for alternatives to some of these items. We've mentioned shells. We've mentioned stones as well as other things we can use, and of course leaves are other things that we could use. But what about tarpaulin? It's a type of mulch, isn't it? Just like a tarpaulin or black weed suppressing membrane, it's a type of mulch that you can lay down. The idea being it just stops the rain from washing out all the nutrients, blocks out the light so weeds don't grow. Supposedly it doesn't seem to work so well on my allotment, but other ideas like that can be useful. Now, Graham says, I've just brought a load of the watering spikes you just mentioned from Temu, mate. 5 for around £1. That's not bad. 5 for £1. That's not bad at all. I've never bought anything of Temu. I'm always a bit wary of it, partly because there was, what was the website before Temu that I can't think what it's called. But I ordered something off that. I knew it was too cheap for what it was. And what turned up was not what I expected at all. And they were crafted because they changed the listing as they went through it. Scott says, what about wool as a mulch? Mulch. I can see wool working, yes. I can see wool working completely. I don't see any problem with it. I do use wool quite a bit, as you know, for hanging baskets and things like that. I've never used it as a mulch, but I can see it would work. Anybody got any experience of using wool as a mulch? Turbo Stream says, I had a tarp on a section of my plot. I must say the soil underneath was brilliant when I took it off. Yeah. If it, I mean, I've laid tarps down on my allotment, and it just doesn't seem to block out the light, and we seem to get a lot. I mean, a lot of they are blocked out. A lot of weeds still grow, but they're very yellow, as if they're not getting enough light. But if it worked brilliantly for your soil underneath, then that can only be a good thing. Because ultimately, that's why we want to lay mulches. We want better soil. We want better everything. So, yeah, completely see that that's a good thing. As I said, I prefer weed suppressing membrane. My fear has always been with tarps. Excuse me, they're a bit waterproof. They're not really going to let water through. So I preferred weed suppressing membrane because it's weaved and allows water through, which keeps the soil hydrated. I always worried by keeping the soil dry, it might do some damage. But hey, if it worked for you, then good for you. Be ideal for clearing section of ground. Completely agree with that. The only trouble, this is more with weed suppressing membrane. My neighbour on the allotment laid a load of it down. Some strong winds came along and blew it into my gooseberry bushes, where it got shredded up into tiny little shreds. And to this day, I've still got loads of these little black plastic ribbons on my gooseberry bushes that are just annoying. And I could pick them all out one by one. That'll take forever. That's the only thing I have to say to be careful of. That's more weed suppressing membrane as opposed to tarpaulin, of course. Graham says, never had a problem with Temu. Just got a projector from movie nights with the family, £24, and fills the wall and crystal clear. Okay. You're persuading me. I'll check it out. Anna Jones says a tarp is also very good for soil warming in the spring. Yeah, absolutely it is. Graham says wool is good for mulch. The slugs hate the stuff. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I've never used it as a mulch, but I know the slugs hate the stuff. Although some people would argue with that, but I certainly have found they hate the stuff. So what else have we got? Scott says, I used weed suppressor membrane for 1 year on my 2 big beds, and it got rid of a lot of the weeds. I think you've got to really leave it down for at least a year for it to do its work. It certainly, I mean, I did lay on the new half, lay a weed membrane down for about a year with pots on top, so I was still using the ground, and it did clear out a lot of the weeds. So yeah, you've got to leave it down for a year. When I say weeds, I'm talking about the couch grass that I particularly have a problem with. Right guys, well, I've got one more video to show you, and it is tool time. So let's go have a look and see what we've got there. Okay guys, it's tool servicing time, and it's a tool that I use a lot of. It's a dibber. As you can see, this is one of my dibbers. I've got quite a few of them. I use them a lot, especially for planting out many of our plants, including our onion sets. So what do we do to service these? Come down here and I will show you. Okay, so the first things first, this is a wooden dibber, but of course yours might be plastic or metal even. But the first thing I think we always want to do with any of them, just clean off any of this mud. Try and get it a little bit cleaner. Easier said than done, I know, because as you take a stiff brush through it, it seems to make it worse. But you know what, these tools are never going to look perfect. They're just going to get muddier and muddier. Now, as you know, I prefer wooden tools. But the disadvantage of wooden tools, particularly with something like mud, is that they can rot away if they are left to be wet. So that's what we want to try and stop. Now, although that is not perfect, I don't think I'm going to get it much better. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to lay a bit of a rag down, if I can get it right, just so I don't do any damage. And again, it's back in with the linseed oil and spray it all over. As you know, I'm a big fan of using linseed oil on wooden handles. It sort of seeps into the wood, strengthens it, keeps it soft. When wood gets brittle is when it's likely to break, and that's what we don't want. And in theory, it also helps keep the wood cleaner in the future because the mud has a tougher time sticking to it. So I'll just give that a couple of minutes, see if the linseed oil soaks into it. In fact, you can see the difference on that top. I haven't sprayed any, so let's spray a bit more onto that. I love the smell of this stuff as well, to the bottom as well. In fact, that's not looking too bad, but I'm going to give it another blast just to be on the safe side. Hear that rain coming. Oh, yeah, really hear that rain coming. But I think that is now ready to go. My lovely little dibber is good. Should do this more than once a year, I would say. Hope you can hear me over the rain. You should do this more than once a year, and it will last a long time. Right guys, back to the podding shed. Indeed, back to the podding shed. The rain here seems to have gone quiet now. As I said, we seem to be getting a lot of rain here at the moment. I'm hoping it's going to just reduce. We've had enough of it now. So Anne has just joined. I thought I missed you, but forgot about your clocks going back. Well, we've only got about 15 minutes left tonight. We've had a lot of... You're on YouTube as well. It doesn't seem to be working too well on YouTube for many people. I think it seems to be UK people who are having trouble with YouTube as well. But good to see you. Hope you are well. Anna Jones, I don't know if I read this one. A tarp is also very good for soil warming in spring. Yes, laying, especially if it's a black tarp, laying it down on the soil helps warm it up. This because it attracts the sun. It warms the soil up, which means the soil starts springing to life a little bit quicker, and everything bounces in, and just much better for us. Just for it being a bit warmer, and it means you can get the plants in, your seeds in a little bit earlier, and hopefully off to an earlier start. You still got to be careful though when you remove that tarp. If it's still cold, it will cool down quite rapidly. Now Graham says, oh, I've read that one. Yeah. Scott says, I use weed suppression. I've read that one as well. Turbo Stream says, my friend used weed membrane and cut holes for strawberries. It shredded on the edges, and I now have strands of plastic everywhere now. Yeah, that's my problem I have with weed suppressor membrane, that very reason. Now, the best way to stop it from happening is actually to burn holes, melt the plastic, then you don't get it shred as much. But it still annoys me that you get those shreds of plastic. Like I say, my gooseberries are just full of the stuff, and it annoys me every time it happens. So yeah, it's a difficult one because I want to say I hate sort of little bits of plastic. I wouldn't call myself an eco-friendly warrior or anything, but I do think we need to think about eco-friendly stuff a bit more. And little bits of plastic left in the soil are not great, are they? Not great at all, in my opinion. Graham says, satellite showing a lot of rain coming in from the sea again, guys. Oh, no, I know. I just want it to stop. I mean, as we've had enough of it. If you looked, I put a reel out earlier, and the puddle I was walking through at the time, there's not normally a puddle there, and that was pretty deep. It's definitely welly weather. Having to wear our wellies. And says, hi all, first cold day here, dropping to -1 this week. Oh, yeah, the freezing temperatures are we are coming along. Said, I don't think we're getting freezing temperatures just yet. It's just cold. It's just the rain and the tornado, or the winds. Tornado, definitely a bit of a problem. But we don't mind that. Right, guys, we have got about 15 minutes to go. Normally, I would ask you to give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe, follow, and click the notification. But I don't feel I can do that tonight. Not through my own fault, just the problems we've been having. And I don't know why we're getting these problems at all. But yeah, if you could do that, I would very much appreciate it. Scott says, I use an old tin of beans on a stick, heated the tin and with a blowtorch to make the holes in weed suppressant. That's the way to do it. Melt your way through the holes to really work through it. It's good way to do it. Turbo Stream says he used orange plastic string too. That's everywhere. Be used to get rid of it. It's annoying, isn't it? That is, weed suppressor membrane can be great stuff, but when you get little tiny shreds of it, it is very, very annoying. Right, guys, I need a subject for next week. I need a seed for next week, and I need a mission for next week. If you are still here and trying to follow along, then get your ideas coming along for what we can do for either of those. Got to say, I'm really enjoying the missions you've been setting for me lately. The bed build, the cloche build, really something I quite like. So any ideas like that would be great. I'm hoping next year we're not going to have so many troubles as well with our connection and things like that. Hopefully it's going to sort itself out. But it is, thank you to TurboStream for telling me that somebody with a weather channel was having the same trouble as well. So there's obviously something going on with YouTube. Yeah. Going back to what mulches we use, and while I wait for your comments to come in. Going back to the mulches that we use, I think I've exhausted all the mulches that I personally can think of that I would use. But it is worth bearing in mind that adding things that might hold on to moisture can also cause problems because they might rot away out of plants and things like that. A couple of suggestions coming in. Mini polytunnel build over a raised bed. So a bit like the cloche that we spoke about today, but more of a polytunnel. It could be something we could do. We've got a few ideas for that. Anne says, how about comfort food recipes from our harvests? I like that. Comfort food recipes. I'm going to put that down because I like that idea. I'm sure Digwell will come up with some great ideas for that. Thanks for the reminder. Just hit the thumbs up. Please do hit the thumbs up. I know I don't feel I've really earned it tonight. I'll be honest. Well, not that it's been my fault, but you know what I mean. Me being critical of myself sometimes. Facebook's Kate says, sorry, I had weed suppressing membrane for my past, but ended up with a strand of oak TLC. Is that oak tick? Oh, strand of plastic everywhere. And then I saw a photo of line of the same plastic strands in a bird's nest. It can wrap around the chicks and older birds when mistaking them for nest material. I won't touch it now and tick it all up, says KS. Absolutely right there. I completely agree with you. I won't touch it either because of that. It's terrible. I mean, I've still got some of it that I might use if I need to, but I don't want to use it. But I'm with you. It's even worse when it gets the membrane gets buried in the soil as well. I'm sure people have had that trouble on an allotment or something where they've just discovered it buried in the soil. It's even worse. I've had that myself. Yes, mini polytunnel. I am wanting something similar, so that would be cool. Okay, mini polytunnel. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to think about how to build that. I've got a few ideas, so thank you. I've got a few ideas. Butternut squash and ginger soup, the best comfort food. Thank you. Yeah. Andrew, do us a video and send that in for next week if you could. of you making it, if you can make it, of course, and that'll go down great. You've done great despite all the challenges. Huge thumbs up for me, Kate. Thank you so much. I'm just glad it's nothing my end because everything's working on my end. So there's something else going on. Graham says, you have more than earned a thumbs up tonight. Not getting stressed out with the tech, mate. Getting stressed out doesn't really get us anywhere, does it? We've just got to soldier on. It's not easy, though. As I said, one of my annoyances, I'm going off topic, I know here, but one of my annoyances is when, like, if I'm typing or trying to write something down when I'm live streaming, the way I see it, I'm meant to be talking to you guys, not trying to, and I can't do two things at once, not trying to do all these other things. That's when the videos come in because I can belt those out and concentrate on other things. But yeah, it is a challenge to say that. Tomstream, another idea for a challenge another week is staying warm in the winter on our plots. Suggest that another time, Thomas. Make a note of it and suggest that for another time. So for the mission, a mini polytunnel build and comfort food recipes as the subject. What seed shall I sow next week is the final thing that I need. Be good to get a few ideas. I'm trying to think of what we could sow at the moment. I mean, a lot of it is going to be indoors, really. Chilies, peppers, aubergines. Might be a bit early for aubergines, but lettuce, anything like that. Any ideas you've got? I think we've worked quite a way through a lot of seeds, but I'd like to keep it going. Yeah. Anybody got any suggestions for that as well? Right. What else was I going to let you guys know? I can't think of it. Halloween, yes. Halloween is very much upon us, and Halloween means pumpkins, of course. I've got a video which is scheduled to come out Tuesday. Was going to come out today. I recorded it yesterday, edited it yesterday. I was uploading it this morning when the when I got the notification about the tornado, and I thought the tornado topical. So I quickly threw that up there instead. But the pumpkin video coming out with Charles and Camilla. You may well remember Charles and Camilla, the seeds I sown on Coronation Day. How well did they do? You'll find out. It's quite interesting. So Turbo Stream says spinach or similar. I think we've done spinach before, but that's something we could think about. Might be a bit cold for spinach, but perhaps Mizuno or something like that. Although Scott says field beans for seed, or has that been done? I don't think we've done field beans, but that's definitely something we could do. Two choices there, spinach or Mizuno or field beans. Three choices, that is, isn't it? David Street says, I lock my doors on Halloween. Not my thing at all. Roll on spring, I say. Well, the thing I personally dislike is what we were meant to have last night in our town is the bonfire and fireworks night. Now, I know some people love it and they might think I'm a bit of a grump when I say I don't like the fireworks, but I don't like the fireworks. Now, they don't personally bother me per se. The thing I don't like about them is how they upset animals. I'm not talking about dogs or chickens and horses. I mean, it does upset those, of course. But as humans, we can take action to try and protect those. For me, it's the birds, the seagulls, the robins, the natural birds, the badgers, the hedgehogs. They're going to be scared by all that banging that goes off as well. And that's what always I dislike about it personally. As I said, you might have a very different opinion, and you're quite right to have that opinion. It's just my personal opinion. But for me, that's why I don't like fireworks. Graham says, hate fireworks, scare my dogs to death. Exactly. I mean, my dog isn't too bad with them. This is the third year we've gone through them. She's pricking her ears up when they go off. But last year, it was about 2 weeks after fireworks night. We were down getting fish and chips, and the fireworks went off across the river at the yacht club. And Roxy literally bolted all the way home, dragging Amanda with her. And if it does that to a dog, what's it going to do to hedgehogs and things like that? Toby Stream says, I agree, Richard. I'm glad I'm not the only one. You know, hedgehogs, badgers are they live in the wild. We cannot make them safe, can we? I just think fireworks are so wrong for that very reason. Again, you're very welcome to disagree with me, and you're completely right to disagree with me. It's just my personal opinion. And like I say, if you do have a thought on that, we've got about 3 minutes to go. But the reason I bring up bonfire night actually is, you know, wood ash. We do have log burning stoves. I think we're going to do field beans next week, by the way. We do have field wood burning stoves or open fireplaces, and we collect that wood ash to add to our compost heaps or to our beds as a good source of potassium for our beds and our plants, of course. So there is a reason that I bring that up. So not sure who this is. I hate the fireworks. Breaks my heart every year seeing my cat Lily scared, and they can make no noiseless ones. Absolutely. The noise is totally unnecessary, and the wildlife do suffer. I completely agree. I completely agree with you there. It was Kate. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kate. You know, I completely agree. You know, I think the noise is part of the fun. And if it's only for one day a year, always on November the 5th, I think we can all work with that. It's a fact that now, like ours, end of October, I think there's been some middle of October, and it'll go right up till, I don't know, January the 1st, doesn't it? Maybe even later. Turbo Stream says, field beans, I might sow some more. Excellent. Graham says, my hedgehogs are curled up under my shed and stay out the way. I burn on my allotment and save the ash in a bin for when needed. Completely. I'll say good night, Richard and company. I'll make a video of my butternut squash and ginger soup for next week. Night. Thank you so much, Andrew. And I think we are going to close up now anyway, because it is past. Right, Andrew, goodbye. There we go. Some years it sounds like World War II. I completely agree, especially for those in the Ukraine. I'm just going to write down field beans. Right, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me tonight. I know it has been a real challenge, and I apologize for it. It is out of my hands, but hopefully next week we will be okay. This is the joys of doing live stream. There are things that are out of our hands sometimes. But as I say, we will be back here next Sunday. We're going to talk about comfort food recipes. Seems quite topical. So if you've got any comfort food recipes you want to send in, then please do. I'm very happy to have some ideas. Right, guys, you take care. I'll see you again next. Oh, I haven't set myself up to get out of here. I will see you all again next Sunday. All the best.